That last slide was purely Potomac Reunion inspired. First, I'm going with Aquaphor. I usually use the CeraVe Healing Ointment or the Aquaphor. I will explain why later. Next, I'm going in with the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. This is the matte version, and I'm so shocked that e.l.f. has a matte power grip. It is so nice on the skin. It doesn't dry out my skin. Next, we're going in with the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Universal. This 3 combo. You're gonna see what my skin is gonna look like later. I like to apply these with my fingers, make sure that I blend them in as gorgeously as possible, and then I allow them a little bit of time to dry down, as before I put my primers on, I want to make sure that they're all settled in and ready to go. Next, I'm going with my eyeshadow primer. This is the Urban Decay Primer Potion, and I like blending it in with my fingers because it actually sits on the skin and into the skin a lot better, and my eyeshadow does not crease. Because I'm doing an eyeshadow look today, I'm gonna line the bottoms of my brow with the Sephora Collection brow pencil. This is the deepest one they have, and then I'm cleaning the brows with my Black Radiance concealer, a dark one first, a light one on the brow bone, and today I'm actually setting the concealer in place with the Huda Beauty pressed powder. This is Kofuna, I think. Next, I'm setting my whole entire face with my Benai colorless powder, not the neutral set colorless. I'm going in with the same Black Radiance concealer. It matches the lighter parts of my face. I'm applying that on the parts that I would put my concealer regularly, and then I'm letting it dry down by applying some NARS light reflecting foundation onto my face. And yes, I will be using this gorgeous Sephora Collection sponge. The sponge is poreless. It feels like powder, and it blends in your complexion products so full coverage. It is insane. Apparently you can find it on AliExpress, but I got this from Sephora, so you know, from what I hear, either options work. Next, I'm blending in that skin tone quotation marks concealer that I put on my face. It is a little bit lighter than the darkest parts of my face, but it also kind of acts like a natural color correcting type of a situation for my skin tone. And I'm blending it in with the Real Techniques Kitten Foot brush. Next, I'm going in with a concealer that is a second shade, or should I say another shade lighter than the initial concealer that I put down. And in order to allow that to dry down, I am applying my Haus Labs cream contour in all the places that I want to snatch. The sides of my face, my jawline, my cheekbone, my forehead. Trying to diminish that 5 head a little bit, you know? And also I am going to blend it in with an angled brush, and I like to pat it in and make sure that it's staying in place, okay? I don't want to blow it out too much, so I like to pat it in and just make sure that it's beautifully blended in. And because I have a little bit of concealer on, it blends in and matches very, very nicely. Next, I'm going to blend in the concealer because at this point it's had ample amount of time to dry down and stay exactly where I put it. And yes, I'm using my kitten foot brush. I think after this video you're not going to see this brush anymore because it's going to need to get washed, and I have been using it. Okay, it is a very nice brush that you can use to spot, conceal, and it shears out the products very nicely. It doesn't take too much of it, and it keeps it exactly where you want it to stay. Look at the skin. Everything is not blended in, so just, you know, excuse that, but it's gonna get blended in later. I'm going in with my favorite concealer, the Fenty Pro Filter concealer. They have so many concealers after this one that it takes me a minute. The Pro Filter concealer, the original one, it's full coverage, it's thick, it's creamy, it's gorgeous, and I like just applying a little bit of the very bright shade on top of everything that I did, just to, you know, zhuzh it up a little bit. Next, I'm taking the puff that I use to apply my complexion product, and I'm just going to blend everything together. This is where I pat over everything, and do you see how seamless everything looked compared to the first time? Of course, I'm going to go in with a blending sponge over the concealed areas because I need those to I need them to absorb into the skin as much as they possibly can to give me that more skin-like look. I am taking a eyeshadow blending brush, you know, a regular eyeshadow blending brush. I'm going into my Haus Labs contour, and I'm going to use that to contour my nose. I don't like to draw directly on my nose. Sometimes I do if I'm feeling daring, but generally I like to take it slow because my nose can look over contoured very quick. I'm taking my About Face the Performer setting powder. This is the shade Curtain Call. Curtain Call is the second deepest shade, and I'm applying that all over my face. I have been using and loving this powder ever since I showed it to you. I've been using it, and I almost like reach for this a lot more than I've been reaching for my benign nutmeg, but of course nutmeg is like my baby. So, but yes, I'm using that. Next, we're going in with the Huda Beauty Second Deepest Shade, which I don't remember the name. I will be posting a review of the pressed powders really, really soon. I'm learning how to use it. I'm trying to not just come at you with this. And I also went all the way to LA to pick up the deepest shade so I can have like a comprehensive review for you guys. But I like using it on top of a loose powder, not to use it to set by itself. Next, I'm taking my Benai colorless powder, not the neutral set, and I am going to set my entire face. Setting my face with the Benai colorless powder has been giving me the most surreal looking makeup skin, okay? Get into it. Morphe Solo Artist on the eyes. I love using this as both my base and my primer, although I do have a primer on. I love using it as my eyeshadow base because it goes on very, very easily and it holds on to whatever color I put on top of it beautifully. They have several different shades, so if you're doing like a more intense look, you can use the lighter one, although this one looks pretty light on my skin tone, right? Next, I'm going into my Beauty Bay Bright Matte Palette, and I'm taking that first brown shade and I'm sweeping that all over my eyelids. I'm not trying to intensify the color. I'm just trying to dim down the brightness of the base so that it doesn't look like it's out of place. Next, I'm taking that first orange shade and placing it in the inner corner because I want to build up the shade that I have in my head. I wanted something to match the shirt that I'm wearing, so that's why I'm doing it this way. Next, I'm taking that very deep orange shade and going over where we just put our shade and also like right next to it. I'm not entirely putting it on top. I'm just building up from there. Next, I'm taking this very reddish, orangish kind of, it's not fuchsia. I don't know what the shade is called, but I know that I like what it looks like on my eyes though. I'm putting that next to that orange, kind of giving like a gradient sunset type of a look. I'm also not applying it all over my eyelids as I want to keep a very neutral air about this orange. I took that shade I showed you and placed it on the outer corner of my eye. I did not blow it out too much. Just like a little shadow for this eyeliner situation that I'm doing. That eyeliner is a Sephora collection eyeliner pencil. I put that in my waterline and I used that as an eyeliner because I know it would give me a base for my very deep orange shade to stick to, and that's what I did. I'm taking a small flat detail or concealer brush and I'm using that to blend in that orange shade I showed you into the eyeliner and also just making sure to blow that orange out with a blending brush. I will put recommendations for brush sets down below, so definitely check that out. Going back in with the eyebrow pencil, we are, of course, now going to build a brow, okay? Sis ain't got no brows. My brows are micro shaded in, so I like to build my brow. And with this shade, it's also very neutral that I really like what it looks like. Now, after I build the bottom, I go in with my concealer brush, my brow concealer brush. I don't put any concealer on it and I just clean the bottom of that brow. Next, we're taking our orange shades and building up the same shade on the lower lash line and then blending it out and just to give us a nice smoky lower eye situation. This is what I had in mind when I was creating this look. A little bit of color on the inside, a little bit of color on the outside, and a more neutral look in the middle part. We're taking the L'Oreal Brow Ink and creating brow strokes in the front of my brows because sis ain't got no brows. Sephora Collection Precision eyeliner. This is the most matte, most black, most precise, most stay in place exactly where you put it eyeliner there is. Kiki put us onto this years ago and I've still been using it since she said anything about it, right? I'm going in with concealer to clean up the lower parts of my eyes. Of course, my kitten brush is out to blend that concealer in. I took a bit of my curtain call setting powder and then I went over it with my Huda Beauty setting powder to set that in place. I'm still on a hunt for a good Barbie doll blush that looks good. And the Juvia's Place one is definitely a good contender. I should have added a bit more of that deeper shade to the look. After I did that, I went ahead and set with the Sephora Collection Dewy Setting Spray. And then I set everything again with my LA Girl setting spray. This is the last of that setting spray. The setting spray is donezo. Okay, I used it from full to finish. So you just witness in real time me finish an LA Girl setting spray. It is so good. Next, I'm going in with the primer from the Maybelline Sky High Mascara. And I went ahead and listen, it was a long day, okay? The mascara got all over my face, but fear not. I went ahead and scraped it off. And then I applied some eyeshadow on it, and I applied some setting powder on the lower part of my face. After that, I'm going to go in with my Bonsi Beauty lashes. I don't sell these anymore, but I used to sell them. They're super gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. I have yet to see other lashes on the market that like rival what I created, okay? But anyway, I'm taking the Huda Beauty quads, the blush quads, which I think I will add this into my review of the powders. And after I apply the highlighter, I set my face. Next, I'm going in with Point of View lip kits. I don't know what they're called exactly, but I wanted to use the orange one because I thought it would have a lot of pigment to match, but it didn't. I did, however, use a lip liner from the collection, and the orange looking lip balm. It's actually very, very, very hydrating. But after that, I wanted more pigment on my... This shade barely has any pigment in it, but I still wanted to see what it would look like with my overall look. It didn't look bad, but I definitely needed more color. After that, I wanted more pigment on my lips, so I went in with the Sephora Collection gloss that I bought during the sale. I will link it exactly down below because it has become one of my favorite shades of gloss. And honey, this look literally has me feeling myself. I love it. I love that it's not pink. I love that it's playful. I love that it's not super intensely pigmented like I usually do. It is absolutely a look that I think will look gorgeous on Valentine's Day. Thank you so much for watching. Love you lots, and I'll see you in my next video. I'll see you in my next video. My question is, would you take me out on a Valentine's Day date?
Who got the time? I'm raising the clock. Even in my feelings, grind don't stop. Got big dreams, want big rocks. I got plans, you got talk. Heard it's real cheap, but it's really cold cost.